Hey guys, Joe Sidoti here. Thanks for tuning in to another video. I really appreciate your time. Today I want to talk about two of the most important things that you can do to make your mix translate on as many systems as possible. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so you've spent days and days toiling over your mix and you think you've got it right where you want it. And then you do the dreaded car test. Have you done this before and you were disappointed? I know I have. For years and years, I really struggled to get my mix to sound good everywhere I listened to it. It always sounded good where I mixed it, but it never sounded good everywhere else. Well, obviously that's because there's a problem with where I mixed it. The two most important things you must get right for your mixes to translate are acoustics and monitors. Monitors are your window to the world. You see everything through them, so they shouldn't be tinted. They shouldn't have a color or a hue to them. You know, it doesn't matter. Let's say you have a $5,000 mic and a $2,000 mic pre. That doesn't matter if what you're hearing is crap. And if your room needs treatment, you know, if you don't know that what's coming out of your monitors isn't true, then all that money you spent is a waste. So before you spend any more money, get your monitors right. Get to know your monitors and deal with your room acoustics. So years back, I go to Guitar Center. I know, I'm sorry, but I did. And I wanted to buy some speakers, some near-field monitors. And they had a room set up where you'd go in and they had all this gear and everything, and they had all the speakers laid out, you know, and buttons to push to listen to all of them. And I'm thinking, well, this is awesome. So thinking, uh-oh, well, what do I listen to? Well, they had some CD that, you know, they were playing, so you could listen to music through these speakers. Even then, when I didn't know anything, that hit me as a red flag. Okay, I'm supposed to judge a speaker by listening to a song that I have no idea what this song is supposed to sound like. So that is one of the biggest things that you have got to do to get to know your speakers, and that's what I mean by that, is listen to music that you know extremely well. Maybe you mixed it, maybe it's a song you've been listening to for 20 years. You know, make a playlist, you know, and keep it on your phone or your iPod, or make a CD, or you know, whatever you need to do. I have a playlist of songs that I always keep ready to go in case I need to listen to some, you know, something in a critical listening environment. I have these songs. These are my go-to. I will listen to them and I will hear, this song is normally brighter than that. Why, you know, so that means these speakers are a little bit dark. Or this song, the kick drum is not that big usually, so these speakers are giving me a false sense of bottom end. Or it's the room. But either which way, the point is, the playlist is important. The fact that you're listening to songs that you know extremely well is so important when you're listening to speakers and trying to decide whether they sound right or not. Another thing that you need to do to get your mixes to translate is you need to measure your room. Like, for instance, Smart is a software you can use, Room EQ Wizard. It's free. I'll have a link to it in the description. You can download it. Now, you'll have to have a reference mic and an interface, but they'll step you through. I'm also going to put a link down below to a website that has some really, really awesome tips for speaker placement, room acoustics, absorption, diffusion, all of that stuff. It is killer information, and there's so much free info there. So link in the description. I'm not an acoustician, okay? I would never, ever dare to call myself that. I'm not a studio designer. I'm not any of that fancy crap, okay? I've just made all the mistakes that you can make, and I've learned from that, and I've learned from professionals, so I can say with a lot of certainty what works and what doesn't work and what you need to avoid, Okay, that's the most important thing. It's better to know what not to do than it is to know what to do. To do. One of the things that I learned not to do is, with extreme certainty, I have learned that foam is crap and a huge waste of money. I'm talking about, sorry, Auralex foam, that kind of studio foam. I don't care if it's 4 inches thick, 1 inch thick, pyramid, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's literally only going to absorb high-end top frequencies, 8K, 9K, 10K, and that's it. And I guarantee you, the reason why your mix isn't translating has nothing to do with 8K, has everything to do with low mids, lows, and subs. And so I just want to make sure that you know that even though I'm not an acoustician, I can tell you with certainty, stay away from foam. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter how thick it is. There are other ways to go about making your own DIY traps and things like that. I've got links in the description for that as well. Again, I'm just trying to say, look, I've made all the mistakes. I'm just giving you a shortcut to, cut through all the crap that's out there. So the first place you want to kind of put some of these acoustic panels, if you will, broadband paddles, not the foam, would be your first reflection points. And if you don't know what that means, Google first reflection points. There's a mirror trick. Google that, mirror trick, first reflection points. But that's going to be the first place that the sound coming from your speakers bounces off the walls and comes back to your ears, the non-direct sound. That's the first reflection. And it's happening so close to the initial sound that your ears and your brain think that it's the same source. And so it skews the actual reality and it tints and colors your mix. So you gotta watch out for that. Now, powered speakers, they have some EQ settings on them. You can certainly mess with them, like if your speakers are really close to the wall and there's kind of a bass shift up, you can bring that back down. Or if there's too much bottom end in your room, and you can compensate by adding the top end back in. But again, you have to mess with that. And how do you know whether they're set right? Again, go back to listen to music that you know really, really well. Measure your room. That room EQ wizard, it's going to tell you whether you've got like a huge dip, in the top end or bottom end, and you can then make adjustments on those powered speakers based off of that data. Now, if you have passive speakers and you're using an amplifier, then you could use an EQ between your signal and your amp. You could put an EQ there, make some small corrections. But that does not fix the fact that your room needs treatment, okay? But that is an option that you could do. Another option is to use software like Sonarworks, for example. It can be a huge help, but it shouldn't be a replacement for acoustic treatment. So in my little room here, it's very small and quaint. All the panels, except for I've got some above my head, some bass traps actually above my head. I purchased those. I'll put a link below where I got those. It's not an affiliate link or anything, but everything that you see here, these huge bass traps in the corners, I've got panels all around, I've got a diffuser on the back wall. I built these all myself, and I measured my room, and I did all the stuff that I'm talking about. And then I said, well, let me try this Sonarworks thing and let me see how close I actually got it. And I think that's where Sonarworks comes into play, is when you've gotten 90% of the way there. Sonarworks is great. Matter of fact, it's phenomenal at the last 10%. But if you've got issues, if you've got bass buildup in your, in your room and all sorts of frequencies and first reflections and second reflections coming off, it's not going to be able to handle that. It's going to do some EQing, but it can't handle phase shifting and things like that. It's not going to know what to do. And so you have to get the acoustics right first. I'd say another thing you need to think about for your mixes translating is where your speakers are placed. This is an art form, believe it or not, and there are some serious guidelines that make a difference. Again, the website that's linked below, it's called arkin.com. they're actually a company that does studio design and all that, but I've never spoken with anyone there. But they have like Acoustic Treatment 101, like pages of information. And I've gone through all of it, and it is all solid information. Remember, there's a bunch of crap out there on the internet. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what I'm saying. Go read it, see what you think, but I've found it to be a huge resource. So let's recap kind of what, let's put this all together and put a bow on it. You want your mix to sound good everywhere you go, whether you're playing it in your car, you're playing it on headphones, it's being played on a PA in a club, it doesn't matter. You want it to sound great. You want it to translate everywhere you go. So, first you got to get your acoustics right. You need to make sure that you've got broadband absorption on your reflection points, that you've got diffusion where you need it, that you are absorbing bass with bass traps, and you've taken care of all that stuff first before you ever buy a piece of gear. Get your room right. Then, when you're picking out speakers, listen to songs that you know really, really well, because you want to make sure that they are reproducing true sound that is not colored or tinted. Those are your windows. And then you got to make sure that your speakers are placed properly. I'm not an acoustician, I'm not necessarily an expert. I'm certainly not, the definitive answer to any of this. I'm just a professional. I've been doing this for years and years, and so I just wanted to give you guys some information, some help, and there is a bunch of resources in the comments. Hey, if you liked this video, hit the like button, smash it, press it, click it, whatever you want to call. Hit that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are liking this video and that you're watching it. And also, if you would, please leave a comment. I want to start a dialogue with you guys. I'd like to have some feedback from you guys on, are you digging what I'm putting out? What did you think? Tell me, what did you think about this video? Did you visit any of the resources that I linked in the description? And what did you think? What did you find? I'd love to know. All right, guys, that's all I got today. I really appreciate your time. We'll see you on the next video. If you like this video, then click that like button, I appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel and help support Sidoti Sound, and click that bell if you want to be notified when I release new videos. And of course, you can find me on all sorts of social media, so be sure to check that out. All right, guys, thanks a lot.